Hello, welcome back. It's been a little while since I've made a video due to family reasons, which some of you may know about. Today I'm going to be having a look at a endgame crisis, the Unbidden. There's been quite a few requests over 3-4 months for more endgame, fleet battles and content. Apologise for my voice, it's a little bit nasally. I'm recovering from a cold. So what we can see here is cinematic view. These are some of my fleets and some of my allied fleets I've got assembled. This is from our latest multiplayer game. There's quite a big chunk of fleets there. Looks like some of them are upgrading. Some allied fleets there with my Econopolis. That's my trade Econopolis. You can see here the nice big trade value it's got there. It's commercial world, lots of pops, give me lots of money, energy. So the galactic situation is we've got an unbidden invasion over here. This is a 25 times crisis. So you can see the fleets are about 6 million. There's 3 fleets there. So that's what, 15, about 17 million fleet power there. Now the unbidden here is half defeated already. We've already killed, what is there, 4 or 5? I think we've already killed 3 of them. 6 million fleets and a 14 million fleet was defeated. The idiotic hive up here took the brunt of it. They'll be going through this wormhole to lead somewhere. There it is, leads to there. So the unbidden were jumping from here and focusing on the idiotic matrix. So I was up there fighting a little bit as well, killing a few fleets, trying to keep them in the battle. They did lose a lot of fleets in the process. So the unbidden, it's good to stack shields if you're fighting the unbidden. They've got a lot of weapons which will do damage to armor. I guess energy-based weapons naturally, because the unbidden are energy creatures. So you want to stack shields if you can against them. So some of my ship designs are not perfectly suited for the unbidden, but they will do a decent job. Let's look at the ship designs. So this is one of my battleships, and these are also just some stock standard designs I use against the AI. Not fully optimized for PvP fighting, if you wanted that. So this is the focused arc emitter. It's mainly to go through shields and armor to bypass, to hit the hull, so that we can do maximum damage and kill these larger ships quickly, because the crises they don't have so many ships, but they're extremely powerful. So if you can get through their huge amounts of shields and armor quickly and hit the hull and kill that quickly, it's very efficient. Got the kinetic artillery just for huge DPS and long-range firepower. A mix of armor and shields, mostly because I can't really afford it anymore. And then I've just got the shield capacitors. Now the shield capacitor, I've just put that in because that's what I felt like this game. Ideally, you'd probably want to put afterburners in there for the extra evasion plus 10% and sublight speed plus 20%. It can be really useful on battleships as well, that bit of extra evasion and a lot of speed. But this game I've just gone for increased shields because that's what I wanted. Just wanted to try it up. I think my last game I was more heavier armor, and you can see there the armor plus 1740 versus plus 1320 for shields. But there's pros and cons to that. If you stack all your armor, if you're playing against human opponents, they're going to see that and they're going to go all energy based weapons and shred that armor really quickly. So if you go a mix of shields and armor, while it doesn't give you the most possible amount of hit points, it can be more effective in combating both. And it also gives you the option to put in some shield and armor hardening in these slots. You can also change artillery into the medium slot and put some whirlwind missiles there if you like. So give you 3 auxiliary slots. So then you can stack more shield or armor hardening in here if you wanted to, which can be very effective. You can see there I've got the dark matter thrusters just to give me the extra speed and chance to evade compared to level 4. You can see it's a 50% increase in base ship speed, which is a very nice bonus. A little bit of chance to evade as well. I haven't put the other dark matter check on simply because of the cost to do so with the shields. Yeah, dark matter shields, dark matter reactors, simply because of cost in terms of strategic resources, because the I've already used a lot of dark matter upgrading my fleets, and although I can buy a lot, when you're fighting crises of this type, 25 size, you are going to have significant ship losses, and trying to replace those losses, and trying to replace them using either lots of dark matter or Zero and other things like that. Even your what do you call them, the minor artifacts can be problematic because you can't buy them. So at least I can go on the market here and I can buy dark matter if I need it. But because I want to replace lots of ship losses, I've kept my ship designs relatively generic. Now that's just one battleship type. Then I've got a carrier battleship, and you'll see here I have put on the ancient saturator artillery. I've been using that because it gives another good mix with 150% shield damage and 25% hull damage. Doesn't affect armor that much, minus 75%, but it does have high kinetic damage, long range, and hits shields hard, which is perfectly unbidden really. And that's using the minor artifacts as well. And for long range fire, I've got the ancient NATO missile cloud launchers, then some whirlwind missiles, hangers, and just some flak. And once again, mix of shields, armor, same thing, same design I've got here, except the carrier combat computers. So this is another ship design just to provide the strike craft really, and to give me that X-Lot weapon that I'm using there. And then I've also got another battleship design, although this was a Tachyon Lance previously, but I switched it out because I'm fighting the Unbidden. I want to go through their shields to the hull. But this was normally a Tachyon Lance to give me another mix of a more energy-based weapon. So you can see that my 3-ship design, I would have had a energy-type anti-armor battleship, a anti-shield type battleship, and also with strike craft, which can do a lot of bypass weapons, and then a basically bypass and also anti-shield battleship here with the kinetic artillery and the focused archimeters to go through. So it's sort of covering all your bases, and I have a mix of all these ships in my fleets. My cruiser, I've got about 3 or 4 fleets of cruisers in here, so there's about 150 or 200 cruisers in here, mostly using neutron launchers just to provide that long range torpedo firepower. Once again, providing a lot of anti-armor and anti-hull damage if I happen to face those enemies, because I do have a lot of anti-shield firepower in my fleets with the kinetic artillery, and this, once again, ancient nano missiles, just because I had lots of minor artifacts, and they go a lot of shield armor penetration 100% and do damage to hull. Small damage, high fire rate, long range, so it's just the best missile in terms of better fire rate and average damage. You can see there that although the average damage is 4.7, you look at the buffs, 100% shield, 100% armor, 25% hull damage, compared to Marauder missiles, which only does 100% shield penetration. So they're going to be smashing into their armor once you're through the shields, whereas these are going through both and doing direct damage to the hull, which complements your focused archimeters and other bypass weapons nicely. Once again, a mix of armor and shields, a little bit more armor this time. I think because mostly these you consume a lot of power, so I had a lot of issues with power. Other than that, pretty standard. And then I did also have a fleet of corvettes I've been using. This isn't really for use against crises. This is more against players, other human players, or even the AI. I think there's a fleet there, 227 corvettes. Normally I'd probably build about 2 or 3 of these type of fleets. You can mix in a bit of flak there too, with the different fleets, or a combination of different ships. You might have 100 of each in each type of fleet. The reason I have these is your corvettes fleets are faster. They can fly out in front of your fleet. They take the alpha shot from the enemy fleet. And if your enemy is using lots of missile cruisers or missile battleships and carriers and things like that, and strike craft, your corvettes can get out there quickly in the enemy fleet, take the alpha shot using their high evasion and using all this PD, really shred a lot of their secondary weapon attacks really, and then also get in close and do a lot of damage to the hull flying around their fleets, and their fleets are going to be trying to engage all these corvettes, well, all your bigger fleets here are smashing them at long range. It's quite effective, works really well. That's something I'll probably show off more in another video. Today we're just going to be having a look at the Crisis. You can see here also my Titans, just mostly a mix of artillery, pretty balanced design. I've just gone through and done all the different auras, if the different designs, just to take advantage of the different benefits they provide to each fleet. Now the only thing I haven't used here is a Juggernaut. I haven't built a Juggernaut. Juggernauts really annoy me at the moment because when you're facing a crisis and you're trying to rebuild ships at a rapid rate, the Juggernaut tends to, with its shipyards, tends to get like heaps of ships being built there. You're clicking on reinforce all, or you might be clicking on number of fleets to reinforce, and sometimes your Juggernaut will have 100 ships queued up, and your mega shipyard is sitting here empty, not being used. This queue will be empty. You can see they're doing a lot of upgrading. So, all right. So what I think I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fleet. I'm going to try and engage the Unbidden up here somewhere. We'll see how we go. I'll try and take just my fleet. I'll take myself off point so my ally does not follow me. I might get wiped, or I might do a lot of damage. I might kill them. I'm not sure. I am using a... where is it? The Defender of the Galaxy. So if you enter the end game, you should always use this, damage to in-game factions plus 50%. So that's a pretty stock standard thing to do. I do have Supremacy, which is the only other bonus which everyone should have by this point in the game. The only other thing is I've probably got a couple of leaders in there, but not many. What you can do at this stage of the game is go way over your leader cap. Just hire all your leaders into admirals and put admirals on all your fleets. It might give you a little bit of a bonus to just provide a bit of extra benefit. The only downside of that is you will get, once you go, I think it's double your leader cap, you'll get no experience gain when your leaders, and it will take you some time to recruit enough leaders for all these fleets. Okay, I'll just start playing around and get these fleets ready so we can engage Unbidden and see how we go. Now you can see here in this game, this is not my fleets, but this is the Unbidden have moved up to where I said the wormhole was, where the idiotic matrix was. So we'll just see how this battle goes. Actually, it's just interesting to see how he'll go. I think in our game, I did jump in and help win this battle. Let's slow this down. So there's actually 2 fleets there. It was about 12 million. He's doing quite well. And I think he does have desperate measures on as well, which gives 40% home fire rate, which is very handy when fighting the Crisis. You can see he's losing a lot of ships. Look at these dead ships there. Look, see all these dead ships dying? He's losing a lot of ships. There's about 6 million left. But he's doing a lot of damage. More fleets coming in. But as they close, they just do so much damage. So he's lost a lot of ships there. Look at the corvettes going down quickly. But he's pretty much got this beat. There you go. So that battle was won, but you can see the numbers of ships lost in that battle. That was just huge. Although he's still got significant firepower left, he has taken a significant beating. Okay, so my fleets are ready at this gateway. I will be jumping into the Unbidden in just a moment. You also want to make sure you've got all your edicts on to boost your ship firepower and defensive abilities. Now I have turned off take point on all my fleets, but my ally seems to be insisting on following me, and that's my ally there, who's got very powerful fleets as well. So we should actually win this battle quite easily. And this is 25 times Crisis, but let's give it a go. There is a second fleet there, could jump in behind us, which would be very nasty, but we'll give it a try.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Let's slow this down. Let's put this on cinematic for a bit and watch the battle. Looks like we're doing significant damage to the Unbidden. They're dead.
Technology discovered.
We've one-shotted the Unbidden. Just about. How much damage did we lose here? Let's have a look. What, our losses were nothing? Really? As against a 6 million fleet? Says we killed one ship. Hang on. It can't be right. That doesn't seem right, but they're all dead. Let's have a look at our reinforced, because my fleets were at full strength. Yeah, I didn't lose a ship. Is that right? Or did they retreat? No, they're all dead. They're all blowing up. But we are engaging the station now, which also has significant firepower. You can see there we're going through the hull. Look at the hull go down. That's all your focused arc emitters. Look at that. Still had 700,000 shields. We blew it up. So we have one shot at a 6 million Unbidden fleet, and we just took out a 1 million plus hull station just like that. Bang, done. So the other factor that can come into this as well is repeatable technologies as well, which is hard to balance against. At this stage of the game, there's so many variables with your fleet power. You can see all these fleets are quite high strengths, and nearly 200 odd K each, a couple of 300s and 200Ks around the place. Federation fleet there. You can see the Corvettes. They didn't actually lose a ship. Not even the Corvettes did not lose a ship. We just jumped in the system and went, boop, one shot at 6 million. See you later. That was pretty good. What about this fleet? Let's get chomp him up. Now, is he moving to that gateway? That hyper relay? No, he's stuck there. Let's go and engage him, because when you engage them at closer range, it tends to be a lot more losses. See, that was perfect for me. I was able to engage the Unbidden at longer range using all of my weapons I showed you in the ship designs, which was the focused arc emitters and kinetic artillery, just absolutely obliterate them. And those 150%, what do they call them? Cannons. The minor artifact weapon. Where is it? There. That one. Really good against the Unbidden. Against the contingency and swarm, I'd swap that out for something else. Probably against a swarm, Tachyon Lance, and the contingency, I'd be going with as many bypass weapons as I can get, because they've got stronger armor and shields, and you want to go straight through the hull and try and get them. My plan will be is once in this game we hit the next crisis, which will be 50 times crisis, because now with the 3.8 update, the crises don't go from 25 to 37.5 and then 50 times. They now go 25, 50, and it's either to 75 or 100, because it doubles each time now. I'm just not sure if it doubles from the 25, like 25 to 50, and then to 50 it doubles again to 100, or if it goes from 25 to 50, 75, doubling off that 25, not off the 50 off the second crisis. So, but we'll find out hopefully in the future. I think with the firepower we've got, 50 times crisis is going to be very interesting. You think every one of their fleets is going to be double this, so it'll be a real slog. It just depends on what time frame this comes out. Oh, one thing I explained to you, this crisis happened early. We had endgame set at 2400, but it came out came out about 6 or 7 years early, because one of our players found this system and he decided to jump in there and take out this unique system and do this ancient robot world, and unfortunately that can bring the crisis early. I think about 5 years after you get this system, Ultima Vigilis, and then every 5 years there's a high chance that another crisis will spawn, even while the existing crisis is in play. So we've already got the Unbidden in play, we could easily have another crisis spawn if we allow it. Took too much time. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to do that. So, and that was the Synthonian caretakers did that. Cheeky devils. Alright, let's quickly jump into this system. Okay, we're going to be jumping into this system. Now this time I'll leave the combat display up, so we can see how much damage we're doing. Let's.
Engaging enemy.
There we go. We're engaging. This is much closer, so the unbidden weapons are firing straight away. You can see that. So we should take significant losses. Look, we lost 50 corvettes straight away. Although we are dealing a huge amount of damage, they're just going down so quick. Bang, there you go, they're dead. Let's check the losses. So yeah, you can see here, look at that, 21 cruisers, 38 corvettes. That's about it, so not much really. A couple ships off the, I think that's the Federation fleet. So our losses, reinforced ore, was 17,000 alloys in just a few seconds. Now that's the difference between engaging at close range and having longer range. We didn't have any losses in the first battle versus the second battle. Now, if you got to be really careful when you're moving around with your hyper relay networks. If there's unbidden fleets right on top of this hyper relay and you jump out, we would take a lot of losses. We would lose a lot more ships. And if they happen to have 2 fleets there, because the unbidden do start with 8 fleets and they do tend to swarm. When you're fighting one, you'll see 2, 3 more jump in behind you, and then it's just game over. So if you have a couple fleets here at close range and you jump through the hyper relay, bang, those 2 fleets would wipe this fleet. I'd be pretty confident at a close range. That's just too difficult. The only saving grace would be is if you're fighting in your home territory and you got desperate measures on for that plus 40% home fire rate. So that's really key. There's only one more unbidden fleet left here at the moment. The unbidden are pretty much done, pretty much spent force at 25 times crisis. So you can pretty much see here that me and my ally, if we wanted to, we could take on the unbidden all by ourselves and we would beat them and we would crush them. So that's the 25 times crisis dealt with, no problems. But the idiotic matrix did take a lot of the brunt of the fighting here. They engaged, I think, a 14 million fleet and then another 6 million floated close behind, so he was engaging 20 million. And I think at one stage the unbidden were massed in this system with 45 million fleet power at the very start. So that was, if they all go through the wormhole and go straight to you, it's going to be a very bad day. So that's the unbidden crisis. It's with this type of build and these type of ships, you can see how effective we are at dealing with it. I do have about 5 million fleet power, I think. Let's have a look. You can check your fleet power here and then member worlds if you're in a federation. So at the moment 4.8. So yeah, my ally's got 2.6. So nearly 5 million and he's got 2.6. So between us we've got over 7 million. So our 7 million, I don't think that's all of his fleet, is it? So yeah, it's most of his fleet. Yeah, he's got 4 fleets back there. So we've got 600,000 sitting back there, so 2 million. So yeah, we've got about 6 million. So it's pretty even in terms of firepower. The fleets, but you can see just the sheer number of ships absolutely obliterates it. And you can see with that, just with the kinetic artillery, just a long range, pure firepower against the unbidden, really effective because they got lots of shields and this amount of ships with kinetic artillery, because I've probably got, I don't know, a few hundred battleships there with kinetic artillery, and then there's probably another 100 carriers, and yeah, there's a lot. And then you got your Titans as well, and then you got your cruisers going in who smash through the armor once the shields are down, and then you got the focused argumenters going through everything. So you can see, you saw for yourself just how powerful and quick it is. So if you're struggling to beat the crisis, follow those type of ship designs. You don't even need the minor artifact weapons if you don't want to. You can just stick with standard stock weapons if you wanted to. And you can, as I said, you can min-max those ships better than what I did. I was just doing that because this game, I was probably being a little bit lazy actually. I should have a couple more ship designs. I normally have another cruiser design. I'd normally have the Devastator torpedoes to have 3 or 4 fleets of cruisers with afterburners rushing in to close range, maybe with cloak as well, and unleash Devastator torpedoes at really close range. It can unload a lot of firepower. But I haven't done that this game. That's another design you can do as well. And the Corvettes aren't really effective against Crisis. They were just there to fight other guys. If these 2 guys decided to fight me, I had some Corvettes to try and deal with their missiles and strike craft and things like that. Alright, I think I'll leave that video here today, just a short one to start things off again with today, and I will be probably looking at another video I'll do in the near future with more about endgame fighting between fleets, and I'm going to try and set up some battles between some of these empires and my fleets, and we have large fleet battles between our fleets and the different designs. We'll do a bit of testing like that. So that'll be something to look forward to next time. If you like the video, hit that like button for me, and I'll see you guys next time.